Have you always been Monty?
I think I have, most of my life. I think I pretty much loved cricket. I'd always just ask, everyone before I played, international cricket, what is it like being, playing at the top level? Any overseas player will come, like myself and Mike Hussey, who would just bowl hours and hours to him in the net, and he used to bat all the time. So I used to always, be close to the people who really loved the game of cricket.
But the nickname Monty, how do your parents call you Monty? Do your family call you Monty? Have you been Monty since you were a kid?
Yeah, I was Monty since like like a little baby, really, 2-3 year old. My auntie said, well, I should give him a nickname called Monty. And then since then, they've just used to call me Monty, not by my real name. And then, when you're like in a cricket environment, everyone just says, what's your name? Or do you have a nickname? I'll say it's Monty. Little did I know, Monty's a very sort of famous, British name, isn't it? Everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Montgomery.
exactly. And there's a lot of pets named after me in 2006. So I didn't realize how Monty Panesar, the name, would be like a very big sort of, name.
Tell me about the Monty Panesar that we don't see. I mean, who is that person?
I think he's a type of person who, like I remember, before a game, I'll try and, work on my mental skills, trying to be mentally strong by, do like reading was one way of, developing patience in my game.
What kind of reading?
Just any type, any type of reading, but just reading. So when you read a book, the first 5-10 minutes, you're a bit agitated, you can't get into it. But once you get into the book, by reading, it helps you to develop patience within yourself. And that patience then goes onto the field where you have to take wickets. You have to be patient, not, think you're going to get wicket every ball. And that, the kind of, correlation, you'd say, is.
Is patience something you struggled with as a kid? I mean, how were you at school?
Yeah, at school, I was probably, I like my science subjects. I was quite good at maths. 1 + 1 = 2. That makes sense. But then maybe English literature or English itself, history, all the sort of art subjects, they were a little bit, I probably wasn't so good at them. But now it's quite funny. Now I'm more like moving towards that side of, the subjects and like reading, writing. Yeah. So, yeah.
So Monty, you've had a hard week playing cricket or a hard week at work, and you got the weekend off, we got Friday night. How do you kick back? I mean, you Netflix, do you binge watch, do you read? I mean, do you socialize? I mean, where's that person? Because we see and I've always seen the cricketer and you appear here and left, right, and centre on different, media outlets. But when it's just you, I mean, the family, I mean, what's that person?
Yeah. Look. I have my own pet dog called Rambo. So he normally goes for a walk at 6:30,
Really?
in the evening. I don't know how he works out the time that, it's time for a walk, spend time with my family. We tend to sort of, either watch a Netflix series together, with my brothers and sisters. Like famous one, we watched together was like House of Cards, Black Mirror, a few of the other, sort of ones which everyone talks about. And sometimes movies as well, just sit there, watch movies. I've got like a couple of nieces as well, the family come over, we all sort of catch up together. And if there's a birthday celebration or a party or a get together, then I'm out on a Friday night with mates, we're celebrating, doing something. So, I try and balance it all together, time for friends, time for family. But yeah, that's the kind of person I am.
Of all the questions I wanted to ask you, and there's loads, but one that I can't quite work out where to put it in the interview. I'm just going to ask it. But what is the Monty Channel all about?
Well, the Monty Channel started off by a guy called Peter Lamb who, used to work in Channel 9 as a producer in Australia. And then he's moved over to England and he just wanted to create a digital, channels. And he kind of asked me over LinkedIn, do you want to try something like this where you can just update stuff, and see what the viewership is like. And when we had over, during the COVID period, it was like a nice way for me to like do fitness videos, to do other things, to do cricket updates, talk about cricket all around the world. And that was a nice way to engage with the audiences. I didn't know that the fans loved it. They wanted more and more of that kind of content. So that's how it kind of created, you know. And so I've just kind of kept on going with it. Yeah, it's kind of like I haven't done a video for a while at the moment, but let's see.
My favourite one was one when you were lifting the chairs.
Yes, that was.
I mean, if the viewers haven't seen it, it's quite. It's like, oh, here's Monty just going through a workout in his house.
Exactly, because people were at home.
Yeah,
didn't want to.
It was lockdown.
It was lockdown, and this was one way. Everyone's got a couch at home, and you can just do leg press over it. You know, something completely different. So they really enjoyed it. Yeah. And then I used my dog Rambo, you know, to do some squats, to do bicep curls, and all of that. So yes, there's a lot of fun. You know, trying to be creative with my content.
What was it like to go from a relatively unknown cricketer to suddenly, you know, you were burst onto the international scene, and you know you're suddenly playing cricket for England, and not only are you playing cricket for England very well, there are people in the crowd that are dressing up like you, that are wearing masks and fake beards, and you know all the get up. I mean, how just mentally, how difficult was that, or was it? Did you just kind of take it all in your stride?
Yeah, look, at the start, when I played for England, I was just thinking, I just want to, you know, live my dream, you know, try and get the best players out, win games for my country. And that was it. I didn't really thought that in the crowd there'd be people with fake beard, masks on, you know, trying to sort of, you know, that kind of Monty mania was, you know, growing a lot. But I gradually learned how to take it under my stride, you know, by the way I saw, you know, the way that Kevin Peterson, Andrew Flintoff, who were the big players in our team at the time, how they, you know, responded to it, signing autographs, taking pictures. It's something that just then comes with the territory once you play for England. So that's what I tried to do as much as I could. But there were times when I was at fine leg, I thought, you know, is this for real? Like people with your masks on, you know, a year ago, I was like a university student, just finishing my final year exams. And a year later, there's like people with your masks on. So yeah, that period accelerated very quickly.
I'm going to read out a quick info. This is a description of one of your wickets, okay? See if you can tell me which one it is. Tossed up, and this one's straightened a bit. The player strides forward to defend, gets hit on the pad, loud appeal, and the umpire is convinced.
This is my first test wicket.
You tell me.
Well,
is that your answer?
Well, Sachin did get out LBW.
He did. Sachin Tendulkar is your first test wicket. I mean, that's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, that's like, you know, like you say, once in a blue moon, you know, once you know, get a first test wicket like that. But that moment kind of like propelled me, you know, into sort of international cricket. Everyone knew, you know, who Monty Panesar was when you get the great man out, you know, one of the best players ever.
I mean, you used to celebrate your wickets, right? But there must have been some disbelief in there at the same time as the excitement. And can you explain what was going through your mind when, you know, you bowled the ball, the peel, the umpire gives it out? It's pre-DRS, so as soon as the finger's up, that's it. You know the wicket's going. What was it?
It was like, you know, like when I saw, you know, he's obviously had massive pads, and for me it was just like, I need to bowl best delivery, bowl my best delivery to the great man. Hopefully, by end of the game, he'll probably say, yeah, you bowled really well. You probably got 100 or something like that. Do you know what I mean? But to get his wicket, you know, wicket as my first test wicket, that was something I couldn't believe. It was just complete disbelief, complete like, oh my God, is this for real? Am I living a dream? Is this really happening? And then when he hit the pad, he gave it out. I never used to celebrate wickets like that. That's when I started to celebrate, because it was just the joy and the happiness of, you know, getting, let's say, Sachin out, but the complete, you know, disbelief with it as well. The complete shock of like, oh my God, this is not really happening, but I'm just going to make the most of this. And then afterwards realizing actually, yeah, you know, you did get Sachin Tendulkar out. But yeah.
Have you ever spoken to him? Because you got him out a couple of
times.
times.
Yeah, I did speak to him. Yeah, like he asked the physio, came to the dressing room and he goes, do you want Sachin to sign the ball? I said, oh yeah, I'd love him to sign it. And he goes, once in the blue moon, never again, mate. and he signed that. And then I was like, oh, I don't know what to make of it, really, when he gave it to me. I was like, does that mean I'm never going to get him out again? But I was just happy, he gave me the ball. And then at Lord's, when I got him LB, I got him to sign the ball. He goes, once in a blue moon comes more often than I thought. And then he, signed that ball. But that's a great man, like very humble man off the field. And, that's the great thing about, playing international cricket. You're able to sort of, get that sort of level of, friendship, camaraderie, with one of the greats of the game. And, he certainly is, the best batsman, I would say, ever. And to have that moment, with him, that's very special for me.
England have won once in India in the best part of 40 years. So what was it about your England side that meant that they could do what so many England sides have failed to do?
Yeah, look, I think the batting was very strong. I thought Alistair Cook, his record is up there with like Matthew Hayden in the subcontinent conditions. He was able to bat long periods, which, allowed the other batsmen, the likes of Kevin Pietersen, to play an attacking innings, to score quickly. And that's the key. Jonathan Trott, Ian Bell, they all came in, they scored quickly, while Alistair could bat long periods of time. And then we had, obviously the good spinners, myself and Swanee. We were quite good at bowling it quickly and getting the ball to turn. And also the ball, the SG ball, the seam was slightly more pronounced and the ball was harder for a longer period of time than the previous tours we were, playing against India. The ball would go very soft very quickly. But this time the ball stayed harder for longer. So we were always in the game, myself and Swanee, and having that combination where we played together at Northlands, it kind of felt like we were playing, together at Northlands at Wantage Road when we were playing at Mumbai, a test match there. Just their memories were just, coming back together, how we used to play together. So, yeah, it's a combination of having very good batters who can then score quickly, and then you got to back it up with like attacking spinners. And that's why other teams haven't found that combination. That was the last time an overseas team, won in India.
You played more against India than any other side in Test cricket, 11 times. Apart from the Sachin wickets, and of course that series. What are your other standout moments from playing against them?
Yeah, I thought like getting Sehwag out early at Mumbai. I remember I bowled it into his pads. He just ricocheted, hit the off stump. That was a big moment because he can score very quickly. I remember in 2008 at Chennai when they needed, I think, 370 to win on a turning pitch. That was a question mark over, is Monty a match winner or not? And then obviously they found out that, when everything's in my favour, I wasn't able to, deliver. So it was always, I knew how much of a dangerous player Sehwag was. He scored 80 very quickly at top of the order. And then afterwards, Sachin and, Yuvraj scored hundreds. So that was, that was a sort of a testing moment for me, on conditions that were turning. I wasn't able to get, England to the victory line.
We've spoken about some of the highlights of your career, and there were many. But there were also some lowlights. How much did it hurt when Shane Warne said about you and your repetition, basically? You made a comment that said that essentially you didn't learn. You were playing the same game every time you went out onto the field.
Yeah, look, I think at the time, I didn't realise that the media will pick it up so much, about variation and, the media making a big issue about, not having enough variation in my game. And maybe something like that, Shane Warne, who's obviously, such a big figure in cricket. Maybe if he had a one-to-one message with me over a poker or a margarita pizza, it'd probably been a little bit easier for me. But I think, he was speaking the truth. He was always, he always spoke the truth on the commentary box. And that was up to me how to embrace it. And at the time, I remember Terry Jenner, he said to me, all you've got to do is shorten that delivery stride. You've got nothing else you've got to do. Bowl the same way, but shorten the delivery stride, and then the ball will come out slower, the trajectory will be different, and that's a variation itself. And then sometimes go towards the captain, have a chat with him halfway through the over. That's another variation. Change the field, but bowl the same delivery. He goes, there's many ways of doing it. He goes, it's not as big as the media making it sound in England, but I suppose, he did have a point where I was looking to just get wickets from my stock delivery. If it turned, get them caught at slip. If it skid on, then LBW. Then there wasn't any other ways. It was more about me just building pressure and then the batsman trying to make a mistake rather than, finding different ways of getting wickets.
Things seem to come quite easily for you at the start of your career, but as Graham Swan's, of course, record got better and better and the pressure started to be put back on you, how difficult was it for you as a person when you found your chances were becoming more limited? You were starting to play less and less for England, and of course you were having to go back to a county game where you were starting to struggle there as well.
Yeah, look, I think Andy Flower said to me at the time, he goes, "You got a healthy competition now. Graham Swan, he's a good slip, good catcher. He can bat as well, and he's bowling well. So, I always felt that even like if Swanee, didn't have a great day with the ball, he would always, do well with batting. He was a great slip fielder. He had a good camaraderie with the likes of James Anderson, Stuart Broad, especially when he took them slip catches. So you kind of felt he was adding more to the team than I was. He could add, through his batting and then his bowling. Once he was on song, he was one of the best off spinners in the world. The key with him was he would take first inning wickets, and once he did that, that took a lot of pressure off, the seamers. So he became a valuable asset to England, and as he became better and better and better, I knew very quickly that I was always going to be the second spinner. Even at my best, I wasn't able to, dislodge Graham Swan because his all-round ability as a cricketer was far greater than what I was going to bring to the table.
But how did you deal with that?
Well, I tried to convince myself that I'm going to become an all-rounder now. So then I'll go to the nets at Sussex. I'll try and bat many balls as I can. I'll try and field, do extra hard work in the fielding. I think, in the next 12 months, I'm going to become an all-rounder. I'll quickly just accelerate this cricket growth and I can compete with Graham Swan. And I was living in a disillusion kind of world where, that is not going to happen, but that's what you end up doing to get to that place where someone is so far ahead of you. You think, well, I've got to accelerate my batting ability, my fielding. I've got to, do something. And instead of facing reality, reality was that I'm going to be the second spinner now, in this team. Unless Swanee has a bad day with the ball, over the next 6 months or so, then maybe I get myself in the team. But, he was always, going to be number one.
Did you sound like you lost sight of yourself in that period? I mean, was there anybody around you that was helping you, maybe trying to show you that wasn't necessarily going to be the way,
Yeah, like when I went to Sussex, I think Michael Yardy was quite good at, good for me. He'll be at slip, just telling me about, what the batter's looking to do. Maybe you can bowl a bit slower to him, bowl a bit quicker to the other one. And then on these slow pitches, instead of bowling, your normal stock delivery, I had to learn how to get wickets from a different method, and trying to get wickets, either get the batsman coming down the wicket. By the way, I bowled with a bit more flight, variation. Sometimes try and, sort of speak to my coach, Mark Robinson, a lot about pitch conditions, about, which end is best for me to, bowl, how to sort of, speak about it, articulate that. Because I think when I first came to the England team, I had Duncan Fletcher, who was very much hands-off kind of coach. So I was able to work things out, how I'm going to get wickets, but maybe I wasn't good at communicating it. And then when Peter Moores came, as a coach, he was very hands-on. He always wanted to know, what's your process? How are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? And I probably was used to the Duncan Fletcher style of mine, where he won't speak to you for 3 days. You just work things out yourself. You go out on the field and you just take wickets. And I think that I really enjoyed that rather than because I couldn't really communicate, I couldn't really put it into words, what am I doing? How am I getting this ball to turn, or how am I going to get this batsman out? It was more to do with just my gut feeling and my instinct of, right, what the batter's doing now, or, maybe his first ball, I can see that his bottom hand is a bit tight, or He's a bit nervous because his form isn't great. Or, for example, I can see he's a big hitter. He's got a wide stance. This is the natural cues you just pick up. But, when I just came out of university, you're straight into the England team. There is that, the way you've got to speak about your cricket and how you're going to get each batsman out. Like that was probably quite a big jump for me, where I think if I had a coach early on, which was very hands-on in the England team, maybe I would have learned how to sort of communicate in team meetings, how to say how I'm going to get batsmen out. But Duncan never said a word to me, and he was a great observer. I thought to myself, he's never watching me. I walk under the radar. I'm in a successful team. But he used to always watch me from behind. And I remember him telling me one thing at Lord's. He goes, which end do you think you should bowl from? I said, from the media centre, with the slope. The ball's going to turn. He goes against the left-handers, trying to maybe get them out back pad. He goes, no, I want you to bowl from the pavilion then, against the slope. So when the ball turns, it will just straighten and you attack the outside edge. But the batsmen from the subcontinent, they always look to play the ball coming in, because you'll get them out, caught slip by getting the outside edge. And that's what happened. I remember getting Sangakkara out, Upal Taranga out like that. And then I realised that, wow, Duncan Fletcher is a very special coach.
Let's look ahead then. 20 years from now, you got your slippers on, the fire's roaring. It's Netflix is still going there. You got your books. What's Monty Panesar up to?
I think he's got his own chat show on primetime TV that competes with, Jonathan Ross and.
I'm sure Jonathan Ross still has.
He'll probably be watching my show on Night TV Prime or, BBC or whatever. Monty meets, and have my own chat show, become one of the best TV presenters, at that in 20 years.
Okay,
time.
So who would be if the head of ITV or the head of News Corp or News UK came to you and said, Monty, Piers Morgan is not able to do tonight's show. We need someone to fill in. All the guests basically aren't available, but you've got blank canvas, 3 guests. We can choose anyone in the world doesn't have to be sport. Who would be your 3 guests on Monty Meets tonight on Talk TV?
Yeah, okay. First one, obviously, will have to be Sachin Tendulkar.
Okay, we can get him over here.
Yeah, and I think second one will be Donald Trump.
What would be your first question to Donald Trump?
I would say to him, I read your book about this golf where he inflates everything. So, this is book I read about Donald Trump.
Okay.
Where he cheats, in golf. So every golf course is inflated by 10 times than what the value of that golf course is.
Okay.
So he's, apparently they say he inflates everything, or he's the best golfer by the time he gets to the hotel. He was like, actually, my score was, scratch and stuff like that. So just ask him questions about how did you become so successful by, blagging your way through everything in life.
Okay. What would be your second question to Donald Trump?
Would be, how can, I don't know, he may be president even till then. In 20 years' time, I don't think he will be, but who knows, he could be president.
It's tonight. You're right. It's on tonight. So we're going to get Donald Trump on.
Yeah, tonight.
So Sachin Tendulkar,
yeah,
Donald Trump, and who would be the third person?
Third person is a really good one, actually. Who could be my third person? Like
anyone.
Yeah, Beyonce.
What would you ask Beyonce?
How comes you're still so successful after 30 years of being in the music, or 40 years? How have you kept yourself so relevant that you are still one of the top music artists in the world?
Monty, let's make it happen.
Yes, Monty Meets.
Thank you very much, Monty.
Pleasure, thank you.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.